Welcome to Ndumoto, Hasai Confections, tidbits of wisdom we share by the fireplace. I'm your host, Dr. Waonyoha Usimari, and it is my pleasure, as always, to have another moment with you and with my wonderful guests. I've got two guests today, so I'm excited eventually to bring them forward so you can hear some of the wonderful things they have to say about being women in leadership. Before we go any further, I might want to remind you to please continue to watch us on Facebook, Ntomodo Haside Confections, and 10 a.m. every Saturday, Eastern Standard Time. Our topic today is reasons why women are good leaders, why women make good leaders. And my guest today is Denise Avery Muhammad. She's going to be joining us the second half of the show. In the meantime, my second guest is, let's see, now she told me exactly how to pronounce her name, Tina Houchins. Credit is Freedom. She's the president of Credit is Freedom, Credit Education and Credit Literacy. So it's going to be exciting to bring her forward. But before we do all of that, let me just take a moment and talk about what this program is about. Gender should never be a factor in whether or not a person can be a great leader. And that's the mistake many organizations make, and quite frankly, many countries make. And that is to select leadership based on gender. It should actually be based on individual strengths and personality traits. It's a big mistake when we don't do that. In many cases, however, women are not encouraged to run for office. Women are not encouraged to go beyond certain prescribed societal norms and prescriptions of what their role should be. But it's interesting that in many countries that understand the importance of women and the fact that women can make a difference for the well-being of that country, all the organization. There are many fantastic women leaders all over the world, and I just want to share some of them with you. And I'm going to indicate the race of the leader, because it's important for you to know the racial makeup of such women leaders all over the world. And Prime Minister, if I don't say the name quite, very well, is because they're not necessarily in English. So some of them it's a little tongue twisters. So if I don't say correctly, please don't take any offense. Prime Minister Fiami Naomi Matafa is the president of Samoa, and she's been in office since May the 24th, 2021. Excellent leader. If you don't believe me, go and read up on about her. Prime Minister Fiami Naomi Matafa of Samoa. They love her. She rules with compassion, not iron fist, compassion. And so they love her. And she's a Black woman. She's a person of color. Then the President Samia Suluhu Hassan is the president of Tanzania, and she's been in office since 19 March 2021. They love her. Her organization, her country is doing very well under her leadership. The other leader, and she's obviously from Tanzania, she's Black. Prime Minister Kallas of Estonia, it has been in office since 26 January 2021. Another powerful leader. Her country is doing very well underneath her leadership. Then we have Prime Minister Maya Sandu of Moldova. She's been in office since December 2020, December 24th, 2020. She's a white woman. I'm sure where they're from, will tell you, quite frankly, what their race is. But I'm not focusing on race, but I just wanted you to know what the racial makeup of all these leaders are. Then the president of Lithuania, Ingrida Simonite, has been in office since November the 25th, 2020. Then you have President Josa Osmani, the president of Kosovo. She's a white woman. She's been in office since November the 5th, 2020. Then Prime Minister Victoria She has a very long name, beautiful name, Tomega. Uh, I can't say all the names, but because I don't want to do it injustice. But her last name is Tomega. She's the president of Togo. She's been in office since 28th September 2020. She's a black woman. Prime Minister Rose Christian Raponda is the president of Gabon. She's been in office since July 2020, July 16, 2020. She's a black woman. President Katerina Skelaropoulou of Greece has been in office since March the 13th, 2020. She's a black woman. She's a white woman. And it goes on and on and on and on. These are all powerful women in leadership. So it puts to rest the whole notion that only men can hold such leadership roles as presidency and things of that nature. So it is important for us to understand that women are, there's an African proverb that says, "Oyo talk by the chamber." A one-legged man cannot go into battle. The other leg is the women. If the women work with the men and contribute as well at the same level as the men, the country does very well. Quite frankly, the country does very well. So any country that will not select a woman simply because of her gender is doing that country a disservice. And same thing with organizations. If you're not selecting people based on their qualifications and you're just doing strictly because this is man or this is woman, then what you're doing, very honestly, is you're depriving yourself of talent, because women are very talented. Let me see who has joined us here. Matt Lewis, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Ukuno Charles, thank you for joining us. Let's see. We have several individuals joining us from Chism Live and on my Facebook page. Their names don't show up, but I know they're there. So thank you for joining us. So at this point, I am going to bring forward my guest who has arrived at this moment. And so, ladies and gentlemen, please help me to welcome Tina Houchins. Tina, how are you?
I'm
Thank
fine.
you
How
for
are
telling me.
you?
I hope I didn't butcher it. I'm not very good with, pronouncing people's names, but I hope I didn't butcher yours. How are you today?
You did an excellent job. I'm doing awesome this morning. How are
Thank
you?
you. I'm very, very well. Love your hair. You're
Thank
daring.
you.
I love that. The red. Yeah, we can't limit ourselves. That's one thing about our
Exactly.
women, right? We can do this or we can do that, and there's nothing wrong with it. As long as we look good, it's okay, isn't it? Well,
It
thank
is.
you for joining
It's a
us.
beautiful thing.
Thank you, thank you. I'm already in yellow because it's not sunny outside. I thought I'll bring the sunshine inside. So,
You definitely are doing that.
well. Let's see. According to there was an article that was written by in Huffington Post that only 23 Fortune 500 companies were led by women. Now think about that. Only 23. But women are just as qualified as men, to take those positions, the leadership positions. But why the disparity between men and women in organizations? Women may not always, and here's another thing: women may not always know, you know, that they're not poised. They don't allow themselves to be poised, if I may use that expression, for success in
Right.
leadership, because culturally we've all been conditioned to think, well, I can only go so far because I'm a woman. There's nothing I hate like that phrase, I'm a woman. So what? What does that mean to be a woman? That's power.
Right.
Think about what a woman does. Think about what a woman does. So let's talk about, and there was another, and I'm just going to share some research that was done, and I get your input. Then we'll talk about what your organization is doing for
Okay.
women. Okay, and you as a leader, what is your leadership style? Okay, um, Business News Daily asked female leaders, to share their thoughts on women in power, and I just want to share several of them. There are a lot of them, but I want to share some of them. They value work-life balance. Women are great leaders because we are able to balance professional and personal leadership skills. You know, we know how to switch. There's a you know how you put that hat on, and you know where you are, and you switch. And we tend to do that at work as well. We know when not to be so formal. We know when to take it down a little bit, and become personal. When a person requests, I want to share something with you. When I worked in Michigan, I worked for a powerful Black woman. There are some women that they walk into a room, they don't have to say a word. And then when you watch them work, right, in your mind, you say, I want to be just like her. And I was maybe 20 years old. And that was it wasn't my first job. I had jobs as a teenager, but it was my real formal job after I graduated from college. So this woman hired me. Statuette, an Amazon. That's what we called her. She was tall, gorgeous, very refined. And she hired me to be her secretary. Let me tell you something, my sister. I had no clue what it meant to be a secretary. I went to school to study psychology. And my first job, she told me that she would want me to come and work for her. So here I was determined. I dressed sharp. I was dressed to kill, came to work. I probably was poorly dressed because I was dressed like I was going to a party, right? But anyway, when I came to work, she was very nice, very polite. She told me what she wanted me to do, and then she left. Well, one thing I didn't know is that when a woman has her table with paperwork, you may not be organized in your mind, but in hers, it's very organized, right? So I didn't know. I was young and impressionable, and I was really trying to please her. So what did I do? I tried to file all her papers away. And when she walked through that door, like I said, she doesn't walk, she floats. When she floated through that door, and she said, she looked at her table, and the expression on her face told me she was not pleased. She was not pleased. And when you see that your boss is not pleased, your mind is shot. She says, Owa, where are my papers? And I had no clue where I put anything. At this point, my mind has been just messed up by her very presence and the fact that she was not happy. I didn't know where I put anything. And she stood there quietly. She said, just find it. She whispered it. Just find it. I wish she had hit me or something. I wish she could have been angry, but she wasn't. She just sat there and said, just find it. Well, I went about finding it. I couldn't find anything. I didn't know where I filed anything. But finally, at the end of the day, I found everything and I laid it on the table. And she quietly told me, don't ever misconstrue what you see on my table as this organization. I know where everything is. So the next time when you see it, don't touch it. Well, when I went home that night, I just knew I was fired. Who in the world wants such a scatterbrained young woman for a secretary? Next morning, I was supposed to be at work at 9. I didn't show up. When the phone rang, I said, she wants to put the nail on the coffin. I know you fired me. So I answered the phone. I said, yes, I know I'm fired. She says, why are you not at work? I said, well, because you fired me. He says, well, I don't know who fired you, but I know you're supposed to have been at work at 9. I say this to you because when I came, I raced obviously to work. But after that, just her personal touch, just the fact that she didn't lose her mind because I messed up. This is what women leaders do. They bring in that personal touch, that approach that says, you are okay. Now, I'm not saying that all women are like that, but many are. What are your thoughts on that aspect of our leadership skill? What are your thoughts on that? And does that apply to you? Is that how you do things yourself?
Exactly. I mean, I love it. And the mere fact that you thought you were fired and didn't show up the next morning was amazing. But that's how I feel, like you said, most women are like that. We bring that and that empathy into the workplace that helps us thrive.
Uh-huh.
Um, Most people, when they think of women, they always think we're coming in there, we're stern, and we're not. That's the beauty of what women leadership brings, is that we can sit back, take things in, and just not go haywire. Well, a lot of us don't go
Hmm.
haywire. I've had a boss that has actually blew the roof, but it was for no reason. And everybody has their different style. But to me, it's all about, I think of people, I put them in my place first
Hmm.
and foremost.
Hmm.
How would I feel if someone treated or talked to me in a certain type of way? So
Yes.
I never put that off on another human being. My feelings and me blowing up or being upset about something, it's not worth it, because in the long run, what am I portraying to that person? And also, what am I putting into putting my energy into them? Like,
Uh-huh.
I don't like that. And I think it's more so that the beauty of a woman is we are strong. We
Hmm.
are built with so many aspects that are lacking. They are lacking in men.
Yeah. Well,
And
it's okay to say it. I mean, it's okay that there are some things that we do that men don't do. I mean, it's just the reality of the whole thing. We're more empathetic. Let's just put it that way. What
and
you're
more
saying is
nurturing.
that, yeah, we're more empathetic. you know and women are naturally we naturally value relationships. This is not to put men down, but there is a distinction, and you have to make it. you know uh and I'm sure any sophisticated man out there understands this is not necessarily pulling you down, unless you're very weak mentally. But it's just we're talking about women,
Right,
and what the differences are. Because we're empathetic, it enables us to have a strong understanding of what drives and motivates other people to do work, and we are not acknowledge performance. There's nothing that makes an employee feel so much better or feel good than somebody patting them on the back and say, wow, you're doing it. That's
right.
empathy. That's empathy. Acknowledge people for what they do. What about the fact that women are nurturing? Nurturing. One of the key aspects of leadership is the ability to help, team members develop their own skills and strengths. Never taking I don't know about you, but do you have moments where you did the work, but you don't want to take the credit? And you don't want to take credit. Why? Why would you say you don't take credit for something you did? Why would you give someone else credit?
Because to me, it's always a team aspect. Whatever we do, I mean, you're not on your own, period. But it's not all about you in certain situations. And I was 16 years prior Air Force, and it was all about coming together as one.
Uh-huh.
And to watch other young Air Force airmen coming in, and like they might not know what's going on. You're teaching them. They are bringing whatever they know to the table.
Uh-huh.
So when you're working and you're doing something together, and okay, it might have been a great moment for you as the leader, but your team is the one that helped you. So I
Mm-hmm.
always bring it back to that. Like, I'm not there on my own. I'm not there to take the credit for it. The whole thing is, if we move and collaborate as one, I always give it back to the team. There's never a just me in the situation. And
Yeah,
if
because
you
you don't lose
uplift
any.
people, hmm?
You don't lose anything by giving
No,
somebody credit. You don't.
and you
How about
uplift people, and it helps them to even aspire to do even more. So it's more of uplifting someone to help them get through whatever. My thing is, we never know what someone is going through,
no,
and
you
that
don't.
one moment of giving somebody else that extra boost
Mm-hmm.
could be life changing to them.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. And how about now? It seems I have another person that's joining us. Shazmin. Okay, she's not quite ready. But anyway, the other thing that I think that is excellent about women leaders is the fact that we are good at multitasking. Women make great leaders because of that.
That
We think about it. Are you a mother?
I am a mother.
How many children do you have?
It's four of them all together.
Four. Well, think about that. And you're running a business, correct? But at
Correct.
the same time, you're thinking about what this child needs, what the other child needs, what books do I have to buy, what homework is, what are they going to have for dinner? I mean, and then, oh, that paperwork at work is due. I have this meeting, this Zoom meeting. We multitask because we have to. And based on that, when we get to work, you know, we make decisions quickly. We respond to issues simultaneously, and different tasks or problems at we don't say, oh my God, I'll wait. No, sometimes we just grab and we have to do this, we have to do that. And if we can't do it, we know how to give someone else, that responsibility to free us up. Would you agree with that
I do agree with that.
assessment? How does
Like,
that work in your company?
it's definitely not about, like I said, it's not about you. So if you got so much going on and
Yeah,
there's somebody else, then definitely just pass the buck and you can help that person. But to me, it's never about one person. And I
no,
think that's what makes us as women and women leaders a awesome and great thing, because we we see beyond the right here, right now.
yes. We're vision. We look at life from a visionary perspective. What is the vision? Okay, like today, okay, if I open that door, what is the vision for today? What am I going to do? What am I anticipating is going to happen today? Not what's going to happen right now, but what is the big picture for today? And you plan accordingly. And the other thing that I believe that makes women good leaders, first of all, one of my master's degree is in organizational management. Okay, so one of the biggest things that women are good at is we are motivated by challenges. We don't turn away from challenges. I always say, I used to say to my staff, challenge makes you build muscles, big muscles that you can flex, obstacles are things that help you learn how to be quick on your feet. They're not supposed to stop you. They're supposed to teach you new things. And that is what I find exceptional in good leaders, women leaders. We're creative, we're problem solvers. Well, if you're not a problem solver and you're a mother, forget it. You're failing because you know what I'm saying. And then sometimes that's what you find at work. Talk
Yes.
about that. Talk about that.
And we work in an organized chaos.
Yes.
I love to say that because, like you said, we're multitaskers,
Mm-hmm.
but we're all over the place, and we're capable of still we're still capable of making things happen inside of that organized chaos. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm cool in different ways, but my my children are all older. So I have college kids, and I have one
Oh,
that
okay.
already has her bachelor's, and she is in social work,
Yes.
and she deals with younger children. And the thing about it is, I even instill in her that it's okay to show yourself, and it's
Yes.
okay to be proud and be bold and be out there, because no one should hold you in. And
Yes.
as a woman, we have so much to offer the world that sometimes people just like, okay, well, I'm just a woman. I can't do this. I can't do that. Oh no, baby,
Thank you. You hit it on the head. Oh,
we are bold and proud, and we out
yes.
here, and we
Yes.
have so much to offer that we need to quit putting ourselves at this below. I'm not even gonna say below man, but this beneath everyone else platform, and that's definitely not us. We
Yes.
are strong, we're bold, we're loud, and it's
Yes.
okay. Embrace it and
Yes.
move accordingly.
And some people say these, and I think that is so. I hear sometimes, well, she's a woman. You know how women are; they're emotional. Okay, what does that mean anyway? They're emotional. That's a human, trait. We're all emotional beings, and we react accordingly. But then sometimes people put it in a way to make it seem it's a negative. Women are emotional beings. What does that mean? Of course we are. We raised you. Come on. It's through that emotional, that we raised you. What are you talking about? All right. But the other thing that I think the reason why women love challenges is we tend to want, once we have a challenge, we have that desire, because it fuels fuels our desire to get things accomplished. We don't like to be defeated.
Right.
No, I couldn't do it. No, women now. There are some women that way now. Let's be honest. There are some women who are defeatists, but again, it all depends on what you're hearing. You
Correct.
know, if you hear now, I tell you something about my father. My father, when we had a war in Nigeria, and certain things happened, and that brought my spirit down. And I was a very feisty child, and then gradually he noticed that was just ebbing away slowly, and he wasn't going to have that. So every morning about 5 a.m., we had in the back of our home, you can see the sun rise very bright in the morning. And 5 a.m. in the morning, he'll come and wake me up. And I never understood why he did that, because I was a child. And what was he waking me up and making me go and sit out there with him and watch the sun rise? Well, first of all, my parents had so many children, so I was just excited just to have my dad all to myself that time, so I didn't care why I had to watch the sunrise, whatever, so I would sit there with him and watch the sunrise. And one day he said, "Isn't that beautiful? Do you know why I bring you out here, or what?" I said, "No." And he says, "I want you to see the only thing greater than you. The sun is the only thing greater than you." And she says, "Oh, well, you don't have the right to die until you made a difference and never live anywhere unknown."
That's
And that
amazing.
became my modus operandi. You can't tell me anything. As a matter of fact, as I was growing up, if you stood in front of me and you were trying to tell me you're all that, I would say, "Are you the sun? If you're not the sun, back away. You're not greater than me." That was a courage booster, that he fed me. And I, we take such things into the office when we get challenged, at least when I got challenged in anything I do, I said, well, okay, what is the opposite of no? It's on, right? You don't give up because somebody said no, So that's one thing. We love challenges. I know I love challenges. I never say no to challenge, until I fail. And that's not to say that I've never failed. Oh, yeah, I fail all the time. But the thing about it is that's the way women are at work. We don't want to fail. Even if we fail, we say, I can do this. I can get this done, right? Would you agree with me?
I do agree with you. And I
Oh,
love your story in regards to your father because I came from a home where I did not have that. So I had to learn to become myself, to become strong because in the beginning, I was meek, mild. I didn't speak up. Well, I started off speaking up and then got into a relationship where my whole everything, self-esteem, everything was just completely broken and torn down.
mm-hmm,
When I joined the military, a young woman took me under her wing, and I watched her, and I watched how she moved and how she talked and how she held herself. She was so um, she was bold with not and without being apologetic about it.
mm-hmm.
And it's already hard in the military to have a woman in leadership, period, at
Right.
her rank at that point. But she brought that out of me. She brought that boldness, that leader out of me because it was
Uh-huh.
like whatever you went through is not your end result.
There you go.
You
There you
build
go.
from it, you learn from it, and you continue through.
Yes.
So as women, we bring so much to the workforce and we bring so much to the world, period. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people don't know that they have that in them. And I'm really speaking to that woman that feels like she's broken, that
Yeah.
there's no way that she can even bring value to anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Your story of what you went through and those things that you're building on, just continue building on them. You're
That's
gonna
right.
get there. We
That's right.
all have different ups and downs in life. Just
Mhm.
don't let those downs keep you down. You can
That's right.
always rise from whatever that you're going through because I did. I'm proof of it.
You're proof of
And
it.
let's be strong and just and the thing is, latch on to another woman. Sometimes we go outside and we're looking like, okay, because we're looking for those men that are in leadership.
Yes.
But there's women I mean, that are right there.
Mentors.
All you got to do is talk. Just
Yes.
talk.
Just let them know. Going back to what you said earlier, nothing should define you but yourself. I love what Les Brown says every time that he ends his show. Les Brown says, um, eh, if you fall, fall facing up, because if you can look up, you can definitely get back up. Tell us a little bit. Now, my guest has arrived, but before I bring Sister Denise Muhammad forward, just tell us a little bit about you, because we went into the conversation before you actually got the chance to tell us about your business. So tell us what you do.
I actually, the name of my company is Credit is Freedom. I actually partnered with a sister company, and they're called UWE. But I teach credit education and credit literacy. Our whole thing is to so many people don't want to talk about their credit score. They don't want to talk about the credit report because it makes them feel a certain way, like they're lesser than. And we teach them that that's just a stumble. Like, as I was going through school, I didn't know about credit education. I didn't have any idea that my credit score should be a certain number, or it should be a certain way. And a lot of people don't know that. Like, credit is everything. Everybody says cash is king. Cash is not king, because at some point you're going to need credit, and people don't understand how big and bold that is. So I teach credit education, but I also teach you how to budget your finances. And then we offer like 15 other services, and to include our credit restoration. So our whole thing is to get you in, get you educated on how to build your credit score and to keep it there, not to just, okay, we're going to build a score, we get your credit report right, and then we leave. That's definitely not what we do. We actually try to build you up as much as possible so that you'll have the tools to continue with keeping that credit score where it needs to be, and also how to budget your finances and to build upon that. So a lot of things that we do is to empower the family. Like, it's not bad to talk about credit. It's not bad um, to reach out to somebody. A lot of people just don't want to talk about their credit, so they don't want to reach out to get their help. So far this year,
They're embarrassed. They're embarrassed. They're embarrassed. A lot of people are embarrassed, right? They don't want to talk about their credit because they're embarrassed, not understanding that that's part of the process, not be where you're supposed to be, and you need help to get there, right? That's a wonderful job that you're doing, and I thank you so very much for sharing that, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it. But at this time, I would like to add to the stream Sister Denise Muhammad, and here she is. Hello, boy.
Hi,
Look at
how are
you. You
you?
look like $1 million today.
I
How are
am
you?
$1 million. We all
How,
are.
there you go. There you go. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us. We were talking earlier about why women make great leaders. Now that you've come in, what are your thoughts on that? Why do you think women make great leaders?
I think because one, we're natural leaders just based on the birth of being co-creators of women.
Hmm.
Because as women, we rule the household.
Yes.
We guide our children, we guide our husbands. And so
Uh-huh.
we have to be natural leaders because we do things that are intuitive. And how do we know these things? They just come. And leaders, how do they know how to lead? It's just a natural ability. So because we're female and we co-creators, we have that natural ability to be leaders.
That is wonderful. And before we go any further, tell us a little bit about your business, what you do. Tell us about your women's organization.
I formed an organization called Lafeminati, Universal Sisterhood of Women,
Mhm.
because we have been miseducated in terms of who we are. And the greatest trick that has been done to us, excuse me, is when we were told that we came out of the rib of man.
Oh, say it again.
And so we were told that we came out of the rib of man. But how can we come out of something when we are the producers of man? Woman is the only thing that can reproduce herself. When we give birth to a man, we give birth to a nation. But when we give birth to a woman, we give birth to ourselves. So the greatest trick that this male chauvinist energy has taught us is that we're the weaker sex. And we know a nation cannot rise no higher than the woman. So the standard is based on the integrity of women. And on the standard is where we as women rule the world. And so as a natural born leader, it's just a natural instinct. How do we know how to be mothers and we've never been taught? How do we know how to run a household and we've never been taught? How do we know how to take care of our husbands and our children and we've never been taught? Because we're natural born leaders and we are co-creators. And so within every woman, we have that ability. So Lafeminati is a sisterhood of women who have been charged to teach feminosophy to the world. And feminosophy is a philosophy that teaches women that when we operate from a self-conscious awareness, all things are possible.
Absolutely.
Because we control our reality based on what we think. We base it on our integrity, and we base it on the wombs that we have. We have a third eye womb. We have a womb that brings forth physical man, and we have a womb that brings whatever we can perceive, we can achieve.
That's right. That's right. And oh, I love it. I love it. Whatever we can perceive, we can achieve. And that brings this little statement that I love to use all the time. It isn't what people say about you that defines you. It's what you accept. All right? What people, somebody's opinion about you must never be your reality. You define yourself. You speak for yourself. You are unique. There's nobody like you. You know, and it's imperative that we women see ourselves as so capable of doing so much. And sometimes we're limited not by men. Sorry, my sisters, we're limited by us.
Absolutely.
We've been told, I'll be honest with you. There is one sentence I hate to hear from, or not sentence, actually, it's a statement that I love to hear. Do you know you're a woman? Yes, I do. What power? You better know what woman stands for. That is,
absolutely.
You're not undermining me by saying, do I know I'm a woman? Yes.
We talked, and my statement of truth is woman is the true source of all power.
That's right.
And when we resonate and vibrate to a energy that we begin to know, not understand, but know that we are the true source of all power, there's nothing that can stop us. Nothing. And so we have examples in that in Harriet Tubman. We have examples in that in Khadija Muhammad, Betty Shabazz. Now we have it in our vice president. So there's nothing that a woman cannot do once she perceives it in her mind.
That's right.
And the greatest thing that we have to do is to re-educate ourselves in the fact that we were taught that we came out of the rib of man. We know that when Allah looked into himself, he saw another part of himself and he brought her out. So how can we come out of the rib of man when man has been introduced on the planet through the womb of the woman?
I always say, let's get every man we can and check how many ribs he's got.
Absolutely. They're all there. I guarantee you that.
I said, if all those ribs are there, there's something wrong with that story. Hey, I want to bring in, is it Shazmeen?
My beautiful sister, two leaders I'm looking at.
I'm
two
looking
powerful
at them.
leaders, okay?
It's nice to have you. Shazmeen, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you all?
Very well. You look beautiful. I want to be like you when I get younger. How do you do today? Thank you for joining us. You heard what we're talking about. Women in leadership. What are your thoughts? Oh, tell us a little bit about yourself, please, and what you do.
Actually, I'm a very good friend, sister friend of Denise.
Okay.
Uh, we were introduced in the early 2000s, and we've done a lot of study together. And I have the honor and pleasure of actually reading some of her works before she started talking about it in public. So I absolutely agree with her. We've worked together on projects, workshops, and just been our own two people mastermind group for many, many years.
Absolutely.
So I am a degreed social worker and psychologist, and I also dabble in holistic health in the herbal kingdom. So those are my loves, helping people in any way that I can.
Well, this is wonderful. You're a psychologist. I'm a psychologist as well. What kind of psychology are you in?
What type? I
Yeah, are
mostly
you,
I
is
deal
it
with
general psychology or?
general, but I tend to focus a lot on the mental health diagnoses of younger people
Okay.
between the ages of about 18 and 35.
Okay. Oh,
Hmm.
that's wonderful. I do a lot of life coaching, to
Yes.
get people on their way to success. One of the things I wanted us to all comment on, somebody's phone is going off. I don't know whose phone, but how is it that women are so equipped to handle crisis situations? Many women, just especially moms, we're trained caregivers, and you, as you said earlier, sometimes we're not trained. It just comes out naturally,
Absolutely.
and we know how to deal with crisis and situations at home, and compassion and patience at work. As a woman leader, as women leaders, as you are, well, have you found any crisis that you just absolutely could not handle and you had to pass it on to somebody else to handle? Any one of you?
I don't think I've ever passed the buck on. I've always taken things head on despite it because I've always been taught fight or flight. Um,
Okay.
so I never want to me, like if it's that challenging, I don't want someone else to take on that ownership of it. I want to
Mhm.
sit down, I want to think about it, hash things out with my own self and see how I can get past that situation.
Or
So
perhaps even encourage somebody to help you as opposed to saying let somebody else handle it. Is that what you're saying?
yes, instead of just completely just passing the buck. It's like I don't want to give someone a problem that I feel that I can't handle myself, but I'm gonna give it to you to do. We can collectively come together and come up with a outcome with it, but not just to completely pass the buck on something that is hard because I can't handle it. So,
Okay.
and then a lot of people actually do that. It's like, oh, well, I can't do it, so I'm gonna give it to you. Okay, well, let's get some insight on it. Why can't you handle it? How hard is it? What can we collectively bring to the table that can get the situation dealt with?
Yes. Okay.
And let me
All
say
right.
this: when I
Yes.
came on,
Mm.
my dear Tina was speaking, and I saw her take her business. I am so impressed with her because
Uh,
everything that I've seen her do, and Sister Shirley, these women have taken nothing and
uh,
transformed it.
into
So if you
something.
can't tell, no one can say that woman is the true source of all power because we're looking at four powerful women here,
Uh-huh.
and there's nothing that if we put our minds to and use the
Yes.
power of agreement, that
Uh-huh.
it's done.
Yes.
Right.
And
That's
so
right.
just understanding that we have a womb and that womb connects us to the Almighty Creator,
Yeah.
which makes us a creator. So
Hmm.
there is no limit,
There's no limit.
no limits within us. And we're seeing that every day as we see women who have been traumatized, who have been abused, who have been left for dead come back and
Mm.
come back even more stronger and
Stronger.
even more powerful. So it's
Mhm.
like that mystical bird, the phoenix. The
Hmm.
phoenix sets itself on fire and
Hmm.
comes back even more grand.
That's right.
That's who we are as
That's right.
women.
That's
And
right.
so I thank you for having the vision to bring strong women together. And when you and I taught, these two sisters and many more sisters was the first ones that I came to. I was like,
Okay.
no, look, you have to come on this team because we are all in this together and we
That's right.
all have such powerful abilities.
Yes.
Because when I met you, I was so at awe at what you were doing in bringing Black women together to heal the planet, because we know
Yes.
that this is our planet. This is
That's
our
right.
earth. We are the
That's
original
right.
mothers.
That's
And we
right.
have to come back and we have to gather our women, our daughters, our grandmothers. All of the women on the planet are our children.
That's right.
And so we have what it takes within us to heal them,
That's
because
right.
we have been the one that has been the deepest in the mud. And through
It's
the mud, we have a Black woman that is in the White House right now. We have
that's right.
four Black
That's
women
right.
who have taken nothing and transformed it.
Yes.
So what else can we say?
Yeah, what can we say? That's very true. And I just wish the world would see what we know.
They
You
do.
know,
They do.
and
That's why
and
they
if they
always
if they see it, then it's up to there's something going on right now at this time, and it has to do with our growth.
Right.
absolutely.
It seems like we're now deciding to take responsibility for our growth or lack thereof.
Well,
Because
when 20 when
you cannot
2020 came
um,
in, the divine feminine energy came on the planet. And
uh-huh.
so, and let me go back to what you had asked me about my ministry, Lafeminati.
Okay.
Under Lafeminati is sisters healing sisters. Because until we begin to heal our relationship with one another,
That's right.
our children can't heal and our men can't heal and
Yeah.
the planet can't heal. And so when we come together as women and we sit down collectively and we begin to heal our relationship first, because we were taught to hate one another, to be jealous of one another. And that is because if you understand the season that we are in right now is there's a war in heaven against the woman and her seed. That's how powerful we are. That there's a war in heaven against the female. And that's why so many females are being murdered, mutilated, because we have an energy that is stopping or trying to stop the original woman to rise back. But we know that the original woman will be on top of the world, which is the Black woman. And so once we unite and heal our relationship and come to the table as queens
Yes.
with respect towards one another and begin to walk with integrity and
Yes.
bring back the standards. So this is why it's so important, my sister, what you're doing, that you gather women together so that we can begin to teach our young women, our sisters, our daughters, how to become women of integrity again, how to bring back that sacred part that we've lost because we have been so abused. We're the only woman that has been abused and mutilated and raped. And I mean, all women go through, but the Black woman, we've suffered so much.
There is an African phrase that I would like to teach three of you today. Ife onye, can you say that?
Ife,
Ife
Ife,
onye
Onye,
nacho
Nacho,
kofu.
Kofu,
Kofu,
Ife onye nacho kofu.
Ifono, Kapo.
That's okay.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
texting to
learning.
you. What it
We're
says
learning.
is, what you seek, so shall you find.
Beautiful.
If we want to find solutions to what happens to us as a people, as women, as a gender, whatever, then we must be willing to pivot, adjust, and focus on solutions
Absolutely.
We need to focus on solutions and get away from the gloom and doom. Sometimes we just focus so much on gloom and doom. My people say, "Oh, tamak pa mi me." Tamak pa mi me. It's like, when you're always talking about, oh, my head, my eyes, my foot, So once you open your mouth, everybody knows, oh, here we go. It's the head or the ears or the nose, that sort of thing, "Oh, tamak pa mi me," But we need to focus on because we can't do it as individuals.
Right.
Absolutely.
My position is the head of the International Global Women Mobilization Leadership Mobilization Commission of the IPC, all right, Pan-African Federalist Movement, is to bring women all over from all the different regions of the world together to function as one, to think about why we are responsible for our own good. We cannot talk about what other people are doing to us when we allow it. At some
Absolutely.
point, it becomes our responsibility. When a child goes to school, the school tells the child, if somebody picks on you, go to the principal. If somebody picks on you, you cannot fight. If somebody picks on you, just tell them to leave you alone. Go and tell an adult and all that stuff. At some point, if the adults are not doing anything, then it becomes the responsibility of that child to say, enough,
Exactly.
fight.
That's
This is
right.
where we are. We've been beaten, we've been abused, we've been put
Yes.
down. So much has been said about us. At some point, if you're not chocolate, what is it we seek? And that is dignity,
Absolutely.
future for our children, and it
Absolutely.
is and respect and honor. But it's not going to come from anybody. It has
Right.
to come from us. I'm not going to look down on my sister anymore. I refuse
Absolutely.
that because my sister has gone through things that I don't know of that
That's
may
right.
impact the way she feels. So it becomes my responsibility to be a mentor or a soother, or somebody to put a hand on the shoulder and say, it's going to be all right. Be
Absolutely.
okay. In spite of, you'll be
Right.
okay. And that's what a good leader does anyway in
Absolutely.
organizations, let people know it's okay, it'll be all right. I saw a video, and I'll ask each one of you a question. I saw a video of this African woman, and she was eating an apple, and I wanted to play it, but I couldn't share it. I wanted you to see that it's so heart wrenching. She's eating this apple, and then she pauses and she just sobs. And you can see her body shaking. But as you watch it and you see the pain in her face, they don't tell you what's wrong. But as a woman, you feel it. You understand? All the
Yes.
women who were making comments, they felt it. They say, sister, we don't know what your pain is. Wish I could just put my arm around you and say, it's okay. It will
Right.
be all right. Our women are in pain all over the world. We
Absolutely.
have the responsibility to soothe the pain away. Let me ask each one of you a question. How about ego? Where does ego fit in leadership when it comes to women? How do you see ego? Do you see a lot of ego with women leaders? Or they check it at the door? Yeah. Go ahead. Is it Shasmin?
Yes, that's
Yeah,
correct.
please. Yeah, okay. What were
Let
your
me
thought?
put my earpiece in so you can hear me better.
Okay.
Um, I have seen over the years the same ego that women complain about that exists within men. I've seen
Uh-huh.
women display it. And Sister Denise and I have had many, many conversations about this over the years because we wanted to know why is that. So some of the reasons we have come up with is that a woman in a leadership position can get so engrossed in the actual work of what she's doing and just loses her inner self and loses contact with her natural feminine empathy. And
Mm-hmm.
also, when a woman is working in a hostile environment with mostly men, she becomes other than herself
Mm-hmm.
because of the hostility and the competition that she's got to deal with on a daily basis. So I hope that answers your question, but that's what I've seen and have had discussions about over the years.
Hmm. Do you think that past experiences influence ego?
Definitely, most definitely. Yes. In fact, in my over 35 years of being in counseling and social work, what I have seen is that, as you well know, and most people who work with people know, childhood experiences and the environment that a child grows up in, it actually creates the basic personality of that child. So, most definitely, in fact, the ego grows in childhood without people really realizing. By the
Hmm.
time a child is 12 years old, they can have an ego the size that needs its own zip code, especially the masculine side. So, most definitely, a person growing up, their environment, their childhood experiences actually form who they become.
Okay, well, that's true. That's true. Sister Denise, what are your thoughts about ego and women?
Well, you know, I can use myself as that example. When I divorced my first husband and I had to raise 5 children by myself, I was walking in a very masculine energy.
Uh-huh.
And I realized that because I mean, God had blessed me with so much. Here I am with 5 children, and He was just pouring down His abundance on
Uh-huh.
me. And I was, I think I was very arrogant, but you know how God has a way of putting you on a path where you need to be. I'm a true student. I study all religions, but
Mm.
I had to go under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad
Hmm.
because I was walking with a very masculine energy, and a man or nobody couldn't tell me anything.
Uh.
And when I first came into the nation, I was having problems because I was not, you know, in the sense of being a subservient woman because I was in this masculine energy.
Mm.
But being among the sisterhood, the classes that they have, the
Mm.
women have to work with the women and they really educate you. They
Mm.
really teach you. They really help you to grow and help you to walk humble. And
Yes.
so, because of that, that's how Sisters Healing Sisters formed with me.
Mm.
Walking
Mm.
among the sisterhood, meeting
Mm.
sisters like Sister Shirley here. I
Mhm.
mean, she's one of the most humble women I know. She has such a soft demeanor. And when I see women like that, I
Uh-huh.
look at that as an example and I
Yes.
try to become that. And she was
Yes.
one of the mentors in my life. And she probably didn't even realize that, but she just has such a
Yeah.
humble spirit about herself.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Tina, as powerful as this woman is,
Yes.
she has a strong, humble presence about herself. And so I had to learn how to become feminine again. So now
Okay.
I'm walking in this feminine energy, but I was a mess. But one of the things that I realized about a leader, the first quality that I think a leader must have is humility.
Yeah.
You
True.
have to be humbled because when you are in front of the world as a world leader, you
Mm.
don't realize how your presence are touching
That's
people. And
right.
that's why I use these two women as an example because
Yes.
you never know
Yeah.
how you affect others. And so,
Yes.
as a leader, when you walk with humility, you exude this vibration of love and peace. And
Yes.
it's going to raise the vibration of all that is around you, including
Yes.
those who have this negative energy.
Yeah.
Women have the ability to transform the energy in the room when you're humbled.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
um, Mother Khadidra. This woman is so humble, but
Who is she?
her
Who is
heart,
she? Who is she?
she's the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's wife,
Oh,
and
okay.
he
Okay. All right.
constantly gives her credit for
Okay.
making him who he is. But if you
Mm.
see her, she's one of the most humbled women
Mm.
that I've ever met. Here's a woman that's on the world stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I happened to be at the palace, and I went to the restroom that was off the kitchen, and
Uh,
Mother Khadija was standing there, and she was waiting on her husband. And you know how some of the Islamic religions is, women,
yes,
when
yes,
it
yes.
comes to the woman and husband thing.
Yeah.
And I happened to come out of the restroom, and she was standing there very irritated. And we just started talking, and she said, "Now, see, if that was me, he would have a fit if he would have to wait on me like that." And I just fell out dying because here's this woman that we connected, but she was so humble in that. But I saw in her just a woman. And she was humble with it because had it been me back in the day, I would have been cussing, I would have been loud, I would have been whatever. But the way she handled that situation, I said, okay, Denise, you can do this another way. You don't have to scream and cuss and fuss and holler because she was pissed. And she was so calm. And she was like, now see, if that was me and he had to wait on me, he would be having a fit right now. But her humility.
Yes.
And so just all of the women that was present that weekend with her, her
Yeah.
humility was so powerful that it made me have to check that ego in myself. And so it's important when we are leaders and we walk with this humility because we are teachers. You don't know who you are educating when they're in your presence.
That's
And
right.
Exactly.
so humility to me is one of the greatest strengths that a leader can have.
Can have. Wonderful, wonderful. Tina, do you have
And
anything you want to add to that?
yes, and what I want to say, a lot of the women, and once they get into those roles, and say home life isn't going well, they bring that in as a way of projecting their strength in the
Mm,
workplace because
hmm.
they're browbeat and broken at home.
Yes.
Instead of calming themselves, okay, I am in this leadership role. Let me not bring that into the table. But that's a lot, and I can say that for a lot of men also. Their home life dictates how they're going to lead at work. If I don't feel like I have a role of leadership in my house, I then go and portray that onto my office or wherever I'm working because now I want to feel like, oh, I'm that big person.
Mm.
So a lot of people egos are portrayed in that bad aspect. But I want to by both of you all, you and Miss it's Jasmine are both psychologists. I think our community itself needs to get out of that stigma that we shouldn't talk to people,
Hmm.
and that way we can heal ourselves.
Hmm.
I think everyone has gone through some type of trauma in life, be it
Hmm.
small or big,
Hmm.
and I think everyone should talk about it. Like you should definitely go seek someone and actually get those feelings and things out because that resonates onto somebody else because you don't know how to deal with it. And that's
That's
where
very
that
true.
ego births itself because they don't know how to deal with it. So I'm going to bring it out on this aspect instead of, okay, maybe I need to take a seat back, let me go talk to somebody and let me get these feelings and things out because I don't know how to deal with them. And I can speak for myself that even as a 46-year-old woman right now, I see a therapist. I talk because we have to get those feelings out that we don't know what to do with.
Well,
Yes,
there's so much taboo. What you're saying, there's so
mhm,
much taboo associated with mental health.
yes,
People, when they think about their health, they think about their physical health in terms of, am I sick, or am I too fat, am I too thin, or what, all those things. They don't understand that part of your health is your mental health, because if the
exactly,
mental health is not together, the rest of you is really not healthy.
Absolutely.
And it's society, obviously, that
yes,
has made people think that you're crazy. Nobody wants to be seen in that light. Or, if I see a therapist, then I'm crazy. But it's exactly what you need at the time, the moment that you have you're down. You need to pick somebody to pick you up and help you see, okay, this too shall pass. Before we go any further, I want to bring Colette. Colette, how are you?
I'm great. How are you ladies?
Very well. Thank you for joining us. I'm just so excited about all these individuals that are here. Powerful women. You're all members of the Pan-African Federalist Movement now, right?
Absolutely.
You know
I've
it.
been
It's
recruiting.
it's our responsibility. I don't want to hear. I don't have time.
Absolutely.
I'm excited about where women are now.
Yes.
Mentally, I have not found any woman who says, let someone else handle it. Every woman says, what do you want me to do? How do I become a part of this? How do I do? What do I do? Because we must. Because we must. It's our responsibility. Okay?
Yes.
Call it.
Yes,
Are
ma'am.
you an organizational leader? And how do you manage the organization as such?
No, I am not.
You're not.
I
Yes, you
am in
are. You
training. I
manage
am
your
in
home.
training.
You
I'm in,
This is
manage your
my
home.
niece. She's the
You,
leader. She just doesn't
I'm
want
in
to accept
training.
it.
Exactly. You are
you're
definitely a
training.
leader.
Are you a
Yes,
mother?
I am. I'm a
Oh,
mother of
you're a
four.
leader. You are an
absolutely.
organizational leader. That's the biggest organization. We
Absolutely.
count on you to help the future generation.
Actually,
Yes,
I'm a
that is.
two-generation mother. So yeah.
Oh, see that, yeah.
Yeah.
So we were talking about what is powerful about women and why we make good leaders, and indeed we do. What are your thoughts on that? Based on even leaders that you have worked under, what are your thoughts on that?
I do agree that we are great leaders. I think because we have the ability to be to multitask and to be
Yes.
so diverse.
Mhm.
One of the most important things I think that we possess as leaders is the ability to communicate with people on their level.
Hmm.
Some people, you just have to, again, we know how to wear as mothers, if nothing else, many hats.
Many hats. That's right.
So
Absolutely.
you have to be able to know the environment that you're in and the level of understanding that the people around you have so that you can effectively communicate with them. You can't lead people if they don't understand where you're going.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think that's one of our strongest and greatest gifts that we have innately, that we don't have to ask for. It's already there. We just
Yes.
need to learn how to tap into it and to
Yes.
realize that it's there.
Yes. Ladies, the most powerful tool in the hands of an oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. Let me say it again. The most powerful tool in the hands of an oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. Timbiko said it to young South Africans. If you can hold on to your mind, you can hold on to anything. Women, we need to hold on to our minds because people need us to be sane for society to be sane. If we lose it, society loses it. That's just the way it is. It isn't about your money. It isn't about your house. It's not about what you own. It's about what's up there. Because what's up there is what we communicate to society. And we are the ones who raise future generations. Never mind all that weaker sex nonsense. If you can birth a child and nurture it and it becomes a man, come on now. Who is the
Right.
weaker sex? Let's not talk about that. But we are the power source of the world, and we need to know it. And as long as we're leading, we must always understand that we sometimes are our own worst enemies because
Absolutely.
we personally tear ourselves down. We buy into the nonsense that society says about us. We believe it, and we don't allow ourselves to rise. And then it impacts our girls.
Yes, it does.
Absolutely.
You see, sometimes we get the girls to think, well, you do the cleaning. Think about it. How many people actually send their girls to school to be leaders? We send them to be doctors. That's good. We send them to be lawyers. But we need to teach them to be organizational leaders.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
We want them to go beyond just this prescribed professions.
Right.
Go into politics. Go into all of those sorts of things that make you lead others, not just lead your pocket. Lead others, because you're necessary, you're needed. I could go on and on and on and on, but I would like each one of you to summarize your thoughts about women's leadership before we end this show. And then before we say all of that, I want to thank you so much, so much for joining me. And I'm going to ask you back again because we have to continue to talk. The dialogue doesn't end. It has to continue. So now you're on the hook for phone calls. Hey, we've got another show. We'll be on it. And I don't want to hear no. A sister Denise told me that she had another engagement. I said, okay, bet. However, you're gonna be on the show. So anyway, let's start with you, Sister Denise.
I think what I see in young women, I see the leadership abilities, but because we are so broken, because the young Black female has changed the dynamics on this planet through the Black Lives Matter. Those were young women who put that together. Yeah. And they're so sharp, but they need direction from the elderly women. But because society, again, has separated the young from the old, so we can't guide them into proper leadership because they don't want to hear what we have to say, but we've been where they are. But I think that these young women that I see, and I just see them in my niece, I see them in Tina, I see them in young women. They have this natural ability to just take charge.
Yes.
And unfortunately, the young women today are leaders, but they're misguided. They're broken. So they can't lead with a sense of power because they're leading. I mean, they're actually, you cannot tell a Black woman what to do today. She's going to follow her own mind. And that's why I love when you say we have to get the Black American women together because we are natural born leaders. When we put our minds to something, we make sure it happens. And so when we look at our young Black women and how they mobilized and organized and brought about change through the death of one of our brothers, these young girls are not playing. They're leaders. And so this is their time.
That's right.
But I just pray, which I know it's going to happen because we now have the energy of the Divine Mother on the planet moving us forward and moving us upward, that these young women walk with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And that's what Lafeminati Universal Sisterhood is about, bringing women from all faiths because we are all suffering, but we are all natural born leaders. And so we see the young women are taking us beyond where we've gotten, where we've taken them to. They're going beyond that. And I love that. So just looking at our young women today, how they're educating themselves, how they refuse to work for someone. Most of them are entrepreneurs now because they're moving from that intuitive part of themselves. So I would say that this generation of young women are excellent leaders.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Tina?
I have a favorite saying, and it's each one, reach one, teach one. There's so many people that don't want to go, well, as women, we don't want to go back and pick someone else up with this, but that's the only way we're going to grow. That's the only way we're going to have this sisterhood of leaders coming out of the generation below us that's broken. They've gone through things that we've never experienced. They're continuously going through things that we've never experienced. But we have to get out of our own way because there are some of us that are still stubborn, that they say, well, no, they didn't get it. Let's move on. Well, no, in order for us to grow in our own and be our own boldness, we have to go back and help the generation below us. I just came back from a conference in Orlando with my group, and that whole group was majority Black females. These were six-figure earners. These was people that was making $1.6 million a year, 500
What is
million
that?
dollars a year. Huh?
I'm sorry. There was a noise. I don't
Yes,
know where you're hearing
buzzing.
it.
It's a buzzing.
Buzzing. I don't know where
Oh,
that's coming from. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I do notice that there's one comment in the chat. I don't know if that's to alert you that there's something in the chat.
Private. Elon Shabazz? Who's that?
Oh, that's another powerful leader.
Oh, she
Another
says she's,
sister.
I didn't, oh, there she is.
Yeah, she's a very powerful leader.
Okay, okay.
Welcome, Elon.
Greetings,
Hi,
greetings,
This
Elon.
peace,
How
woman
are
is very
you?
powerful. I think
peace.
you met her at Queen Mother's celebration. We were at the table together.
Oh, really? Hello, Elon. How are you? We
Peace.
can barely see you. We can barely
Oh,
see you.
I'm sorry. Is it all? Wait a minute, is it all ladies on the call?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Oh, yes.
Okay, now y'all can see.
Well, that's African hair. That's good. That's
Right.
fine.
Peace to all of you beautiful queens. I'm loving it. I am just sitting back here, literally almost in tears, my heart and my spirit and my soul. I'm like, yes, I love Denise so much. I'm like, yes, 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 let's do it.
That's wonderful.
Beautiful.
That's wonderful.
Elon is a very powerful woman. She has a organization called Black Unity, and her
Okay.
thing is entrepreneur and business.
Okay. Okay. Well, Elon, thank you so much for joining us. And you're one of those leaders we're talking about because
Yes,
our world needs more women,
Yeah.
particularly Black women, to take center stage because if it's going to be done, it has to be done by us.
Absolutely.
Time out for waiting, for
Absolutely.
hesitating and vacillating. It's time for us to take charge of our
And
own lives. I'm not interested in taking charge of anybody's life, but ours, because
right.
our children need us organized. You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying?
That's right.
Because,
And
yeah,
I'm in total agreement. I'm in total agreement. And as 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 we speak, literally right now, as we speak, there's an organization that we formulated. It's called Our Youth Movement. And
uh-huh,
it is a panel of 7 youth from the age of 19 to 28. And their whole mission is to shift the world's image of today's youth and taking our melanated youth back by any means necessary.
mhm.
And Sister Denise and the other young lady that was speaking, I mean, basically they summed it all up. The young women, if we can get those young women on point, and like Sister Denise said, they need that guidance and that support. See, the youth, they are their own board. They vote, they do everything on their own, but we are the dignitary board. We, us adults, we sit to the side, we support them and guide them, and we sharpen them, but we let them make their own moves. So, what I would suggest, and there's the other young lady that said she left a conference, she went to a conference. If she still has access to that group of young ladies there at that conference, the key is going to be bringing those sharp young women
Yes, yes,
and letting the other young women learn from them,
that's
because
right.
that's their peers. And
Mhm.
then if we sit in the back, because they have voices, like Sister Denise said, these women are strong now, but they're strong in a certain sense that they have they've lost a lot of their identity, and they need to understand our culture to bring it back into its
That's right.
full fruition.
That's right.
So we don't want we don't want our women to be so strong, but they're following somebody else's culture and somebody else's agenda.
Mhm,
Absolutely.
So
mhm.
that's why we let them have their own voice, but we guide them and we teach them and we show them, how to stick within their own guidelines. And if we can collaborate and get those powerful women like Sister Denise and the other young lady was talking about, match them up together, and we formulate a board of strong dignitaries on the back end, and they just come to us for support. I think that that could really, really be significant.
and that is quite frankly the thrust of our organization, and that is to bring women leaders
Yep.
together so that we can help those that need to be led, to
Absolutely.
learn how to be leaders, you know,
Yeah.
and put things in society that help women in particular, you know, because as Sister Denise said earlier, we have suffered a lot, and it's
Oh yeah.
time for us to, help our own people out, and not look to others to help us. And now, in closing, you know, I, I don't want to mess up your name. Is it Shireen? Is it
No, no, you've been pronouncing it correctly, Shazmeen.
Shazmi? Okay.
Uh-huh.
Now, what are your closing thoughts?
My closing thoughts, as far as what makes a great leader, in my own personal experiences, what has made me better and better every year is my own self healing. Because in order to be great leaders, we have to be uh, we have to be secure in ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing, or the number one thing that will make us secure, is to heal from all those things that have produced insecurities.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And
That's right.
so, in order to be a good leader, we want to model self healing, we want to model morality, and all
Mm-hmm.
those things that will bring us into, make us better suited to work with one another in a cohesive way. Because
Yes.
sometimes what scares off our younger people, the ones we're mentoring, is because at the top, they see a lot of discord.
Yep.
And so if they see
Mm-hmm.
discord, we're not modeling what we're asking
Mm-hmm.
them to become.
Absolutely.
So
Right.
I
Absolutely.
number one is self-healing in my
Mm.
perspective.
Mm.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
One.
Uh,
I totally agree with that one. That was powerful, Jasmine.
Yes.
That brings me
Praise God.
back to people needing to go out and seek that mental health, and it's not even when it's bad. Do it before it gets to that point. You don't want to
mm,
be completely broken and then seek
mm,
the help.
mm,
Um, Even as mothers, our children have their own traumas that we may not even know that they've gone through childhood.
and they don't share with you. They don't always
Yes.
share.
So,
Yes.
and we should automatically just make it that it's okay to seek that help and do it while they're young, because even our babies, they have
Mm,
a story that they can't even express to us because they don't know how, because we are in a position of authority and they don't know how to talk to the parent and say, hey, I have this going on, I
mm,
don't know what to say to you.
mhm.
Start putting even our babies need to go
Yeah,
into being able to talk to someone outside of the parent.
that's right.
And,
That's
and
right.
you know, and you,
Yeah, Colette.
if
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
can,
Colette.
So okay. So first of all, the what what shapes a woman is all of her experiences. The
Yes.
ones that she views as good and the ones that she views as bad. And some
Mm-hmm.
of us do need healing and don't even know where we need the healing to come from, or what
Absolutely.
needs to be fixed, or what's
Yes,
broken.
that's right.
I do have to say that I have been very fortunate because I have five very strong aunties. I had a
Mm,
very strong grandmother who was
mm,
very spiritually rooted. And all of them taught me and poured into me. And even though I didn't realize I was broken,
mm,
the, mhm,
mm,
the
mm.
Creator knew it
Yes.
and brought it to my attention, and I didn't ignore it.
Mm,
I've been a mother since I was 21,
mm,
and me and my first daughter, we figured it out together. My second daughter, she was along for the ride. And like Tina said, there were things that I did that I thought was in the best interest of them, because as a mother, there's nothing that I ever did that was not in their best interest. I made sacrifices to do what was in their best interest, they felt differently about. And I found out when they became adults. But the one thing that we always had was open communication. I always dealt with them as much as I could in love so that they would always feel comfortable coming and talking to me. And if they didn't, I made sure that the village they were in, the
Mm.
people that they were around,
Mhm.
were people who had or shared similar desires, so that if
Mm.
they didn't feel comfortable coming and talking to me, they can go and talk to somebody else. Just like
Mm.
I can go and talk to, if I didn't feel comfortable speaking with my mother or father, because my father was very stern.
Yeah.
He believed that a child stayed in a child's place. You ain't engaged in no adult conversations, and that's
Right.
it. You do what I say do, and that's it, period. But
Okay.
I had aunties and a grandmother that I could go to even when he made me feel some type of way. So the one thing that I think that a leader does is they they receive and operate in love.
Yes.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
when you open yourself to that,
Mhm.
uh, the divine creator will come in and he'll love on you in such a way that he'll show you everything that needs to be fixed in you so that you can continue to move forward in your journey, so that you can
Yes.
pour into other women and other people when he
Yes.
brings them to you, so that you can share your experiences. Because what's going to make a woman open up and want to talk to you is knowing that you're not just talking at me, you're talking
Mhm.
to me from a place of experience. So
Mhm.
sometimes our experiences aren't even for us, it's for us to go through so we can share it with someone else so that they can meal through their experiences
That's
and
right.
become the woman that they were created to be.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you for the
Absolutely.
emotional. You added some emotion to it, and I
That's
felt
just
you on
me,
that
I'm
moment.
sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. I felt it. I felt it. You know, I'm going to have Sister Elon end with her own comments, and then I'll end with the commentary. Go ahead, Sister Elon.
Um, what was it? I think that I knew. I think I can kind of pick up on what the question was, but I just want to be accurate. What was the question?
No, we're to summarize the
Summary.
importance
Leadership.
of women in leadership.
Okay. Um, I'm a strong advocate for um powerful families, and
Mm.
so because I had my father, I had my brothers, my uncles. I listened to my cousins, so I was always surrounded with power, surrounded by powerful men. So
Mm.
one of the things that I think is very intricate to being a strong woman
Mm.
is having that strong relationship and having that understanding that in order to be a strong woman, it's okay to listen to a certified strong man.
Mhm.
not,
True, true,
not
true.
not just the ones who don't qualify,
That's right. That's right.
but we do need, in gaining our strength and in reclaiming our strength, we as women have to accept the fact that it's okay to step back and not be so strong when it comes to our men, because we do need their strength, because
Yes.
we're talking about being strong women, but we need to bring that together in its totality, the strong melanated man, the strong melanated woman, and those children, so we can get our families back together.
Hmm.
So I always I worked in corporate America, went in corporate America when I was 19 years old, and I've always been around strong women. And I say to women quite often that sometimes we can be so strong that we don't know how to step back and let a real man be a real man. And
Mm.
so, with that being said, I think that part of being a strong woman is being able to accept and open ourselves up and learn to open ourselves up to receive strong men, strong partners, because I'm not married. I don't want to go. Listen, I don't know what other women want to do, I need my man. I need my partner. So all those who, all those who don't want one, that's on them. But I want mine because I need mine. And so when our children see that, and especially these young women, I don't cook, I don't clean, I get this thing in the back of my neck and all that foolishness. you know, when they see men projecting how to actually treat women and vice versa, then we can combine and come back together on a stronger perspective and even allow ourselves to, like Sister Denise and the other young lady was saying, is reach out and be open to receive that healing help, because the sister is absolutely correct. There's situations going on with women, they don't even know they need healing. They don't even know that it's a problem. And so, I would even propose, in one of the things we do in our group, I'm a social worker, and we are reaching out to not just psychologists and psychiatrists, but we need to have a network of people just to talk to. It don't have to be medical. It don't have to
Yeah.
be mental. It can just be a sister circle. Listen, I need somebody to just talk to.
Yeah. And that you just raised a very important aspect of what we're trying to do,
Yes,
because that hurt is so big
yes.
that we need someone to talk to. And then the other thing I want to, if I may come in now, I thank all of you for your summary, but I just also want to know, for my sisters on the continent, this battle is not yours alone.
Absolutely.
We have to connect with our sisters here in diaspora, because when all is said and done, we are one.
Yes.
Okay,
Right.
we have to be prepared to lead each other. There's no them and us.
Right.
Okay, there is us and only that. And
Absolutely.
if we can stop saying the Africans,
Absolutely.
who do you think you are? You are an African, or the African Americans. Who do you think they are? They're us.
Right.
We are one, and that is very important. So I just want to thank all of you for joining us, for joining me on this show. And one of the things that I want to end with today, Sister Denise, thank you very much. Colette, uh,
Thank you. Yeah, that's correct.
you see, let me tell you what. Let me tell you, my site is not a 2-year-old site. Okay, so when I get to the names, I'm not seeing it very, very well. I've got to admit that. Okay, so sister, say your name again for me, please.
That's me.
Is it
Oh,
Shameen?
Shasmin.
Shasmine.
That's
Shasmin.
me.
Okay. Thank
That's
you
me.
for all your input. And Ilan and certainly Tina, you guys have been wonderful guests today. And we've got to do this again. You're now part of my sisterhood. And I'm looking
Absolutely.
forward to, I just want to end with this, my sisters. It is time for us to stand up.
Mhm.
We need to stand up and take our place,
Yep.
because we come from queens
Yes.
and kings.
That's right.
It's
That's
it's
right.
it's practically the best that were brought out of Africa. We need
That's
to
right.
realize that we are sacred, just like the
Yes.
eagles. We are sacred. We are fierce, like
Mhm.
the warriors. That's who we are.
That's right.
We're warriors, and it's something that Igbo say. Ifombola aikpatoraka goes gunzu. Ifombola aikpatoraka toga ogunzu. Anything we touch, let it turn into gold. And for the most part, it does.
Yep.
For the most part, everything we touch turns into gold.
Absolutely.
We still have the wisdom of the great grandmothers and great grandfathers in our minds, accessible to us through the power of our spirit. We are women. The next time a person says you are, don't forget you're a woman, say, yes, yeah, boy, I am a
Yeah, boy.
woman. I define and speak for myself. I'm not going to allow you to define me.
Yep.
Amen.
We are preparing to enter the unlimited world of the spirit, of possibilities, of what we can
Absolutely.
do as women to raise ourselves from this little place they put us and put ourselves, reenact our glorious past in the present, because we are powerful women. And because we are powerful women, the universe is hearing us. Father God will pick us up and Mother God will hold us up. And we will walk as women in holy boldness and change our world. Thank you so very much for joining me. I'm looking forward to another episode on Ndumodo. Oh, incidentally, the name of my show is changing to Ndumodo, Words of Wisdom with Dr. Woman Onyo Husimere.
Oh,
Yeah, so
Thank
Dr.
you so much for this
Ndumodo.
platform.
Huh?
Thank you so much for this platform. This
Oh,
is
thank
going to
you.
be
And like I
amazing.
said, I hope I can call on you again because
Yes,
we need to
ma'am.
keep talking. We need to keep
Yes.
talking. All right. Thank you, ladies. Have a wonderful
Peace.
day.
You
And
too.
I
Peace.
wish you nothing but goodness for the rest of your day.
Peace.
Okay,
You
let's see.
likewise.
Okay. I want to. Oh, before you leave, please. I always want to thank those who joined us. Matt Lewis joined us today. Ukuna Charles, Adora Nosferatu, and so they're names that you don't see, that joined us. So whoever they are, thank you very much for joining us. And as we say in Igbo, and I would like you to end this in Igbo. Say, "Kemesia,
Kemesia,
Kemesia,
Kemesia.
Kemesia, until we see again, until we meet again. Kemesia."
Peace and love.
Yeah.
Peace and love. Bye bye.
Bye bye.